Hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to an episode of Cosmic Tea, a day early. I am gonna just wait on in here for my co-host to join me, the lovely Melissa Kathryn. Come in, come in. Where are you all from? Who are you? Please tell us something about yourself. And we will see if we can get Melissa Kathryn. Welcome to Tuesday. How is everyone doing this week? It's been a bit of an interesting start, so I hope you all are doing very, very well. Hello. I see some familiar faces coming in and some new faces as well as we wait for Melissa. For those of you that don't know, my name is Dr. Olivia Audrey. I am a board-certified doctor of natural medicine. Hello from Sydney. Oh, I love that. We have a huge Australian following, and I've never been, but it's on my list of places that I need to go. I need to visit on this earth. So it must be late in Sydney right now, or early, however it works. Time zones are not my friend. But welcome. Come on in. Shortly, we will be joined by Melissa, if she comes on in here at some point. But as I was saying, I am Dr. Olivia Audrey. I'm a board-certified doctor of natural medicine. I'm an author, a speaker, a wellness coach, and a bunch of other things. Please go to my website, oliviaaudrey.com, and check out all of the things that I do. And maybe some that you knew, maybe some that you didn't do. But we are going to start today as we wait for Melissa, who's running a bit behind. We are going to start talking about, please do come, you'll love it. Yeah, I'm sure that I would. I really feel very drawn to Australia, and just so many wonderful experiences that I have spoken to people about. But from my understanding, you need about a week to spend there, if that's correct. Like, you can't just go in for, my classic is I'll fly into a city for a couple of days and then I'm sort of out. But from what I understand, here's the lovely Melissa Kathryn. Let's see if we can get her in here. From what I understand, Australia is a bit different bird. So, hello.
Hi, honey.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I was just going on about nothing, really.
Oh my God. How is everyone?
I was talking to one of our beautiful viewers from Australia. He's from Sydney, Australia. So he's invited us for a visit, and I said we would love to.
Oh my God, Sydney. So, God, I used to go to Sydney 4 times a year. Sorry, I'm like, you guys are getting me like post-workout. No, but I love Sydney. I used to work in, I'm not sure who it was, but I used to, when I was in fashion design, the office that we had based there was in Surrey Hills. And I used to go surfing on Bondi Beach, and I absolutely loved it, between there and Melbourne. So I'm like, I love Australians, and I love Australia. Absolutely.
Yeah, so that is on my list. I've not been, but it's definitely within the next year or so, we'll be making it happen. So I was sort of prefacing this episode that is a day early by telling them that we will be talking about how to get yourself very quickly back into alignment in the midst of chaos, or in the midst of things going really, really not your way. What are some easy, really applicable, fluid steps to just snap that rubber band back?
Yeah, it's I work in Surrey Hills too. Hi. Okay, I have to focus, guys. My ADD is like off the charts. I have my niece upstairs. We're making giant chocolate chip cookies as we speak. So one of the things, like, Liv and I, we always talk about what's coming up for us. What are the DMs? What are all the things that we are receiving messages about? I'm not sure how much to preface this, as I was my thing was like taking forever to get me on. But you know, a lot of the messages that I received were kind of like under the umbrella, and Liv was saying the same thing around like sitting in the fire. Like, how do you just have so much faith? Like, how do you continually get back into that aligned state, even when your outside world is not reflective of what you're wanting? How do you get back to that aligned state when, you know, you could go to bed the night before and be like, tomorrow's gonna be the best day, and then you wake up and your kid's sick, or like, you know, you spill coffee on yourself, or you wake up and you're feeling sick, or like you get bad news, or like random things, and you're like, all of a sudden you just are like, what just happened to that like feeling great and all of that. So a few of the things that, and I can tell you, especially to this, I know Olivia, like, you know, as you guys are all on her channel, she did a beautiful video all about the, you know, the Lionsgate and 1111. And we always tie everything with cosmic tea into the cosmic energy of what's going on, because it does impact what's going on for you. And so one of the things right now is, especially as we're coming into 2022, there's this hurried energy that I'm noticing a lot of people are having around like time is running out. And I thought I was going to do all these things and blah, 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 blah. And I just want to remind everybody that there's no time is not running out. Like, you can choose at any time. That's the beauty in life. But there's no time is running out. Like this whole thing around like New Year's and like, oh my God, like your new year can start right now. Right? Like, it doesn't have to be anything. And you can also do a lot in 8 weeks or whatever amount of time. So use this momentum now to propel yourself forward, instead of like, so a few things with alignment to reel myself in that I will say is, one, whatever you're saying to yourself, if it doesn't feel good, it's not meant for you. If it doesn't feel good, it's not your truth. If it doesn't feel good, you're in disconnection. I remind myself of that all the time. So when I hear things, or like I'll notice this voice, it's like, you should, or you like this or that. I'm human, right? It doesn't matter if I teach this, I'm human. Like, it's a very real experience. Things happen, especially as you're going higher and up leveling. And so I just remind myself, like, did that feel good? Well, then that's not my truth. So what is my truth going to be? And I repeat the truth that I desire. I repeat the truth that I want. I repeat what I want to experience to myself all day, every day, as much as is needed, until it becomes so grounded and in my very existence that then I don't need to remind myself of it. And so what that might look like is me honestly putting a reminder on my phone to pop up every hour on the hour. It might mean that like I am literally sitting there 3 times a day. And Olivia and I talk about this, and in like the powers of 3, like 3 times a day, cementing into that vision. When something is new for you, when you're trying to break a glass ceiling within yourself, when you're going to those new heights, realigning, like, and realigning can mean you are grounding in that throughout the day. And it doesn't have to be like, people say to me, well, what do I do when my day's really busy? And I forget, and I feel really good in the morning. And then, so choose to realign, and realignment can be just also coming back into your breath. I find bringing myself back and having those, like, I find having a timer going off is highly supportive for me when I'm in a new pattern that I'm needing to create for myself. Like, I just do, because I can easily get caught up in my day and life can keep going. But when I get grounded back in that truth, and here's the coolest thing, when you realign, it feels so good. It's almost like that fresh air on a fall day, you know, like you're just like, that felt so good. So those are some things that I love to do that really bring me back into alignment. Olivia, what about you?
Well, I
You
love
look
all of
gorgeous, by the way. You
Thank
just
you.
look yeah.
Thank you. Every once in a while, I brush my hair and my teeth. So this is the day. You guys got the one day of the week.
I feel so special. I haven't gotten there yet, but I will try to do that for you next week.
I mean, I actually like showered and washed my hair today, which if you're a woman with long hair, you know that is no small feat. I like the whole thing. Right?
I'm like, how many days can I use dry shampoo this week?
A lot. The answer is a lot. And after
It's
the dry shampoo is done doing God's work, you just throw a hat on, is what I've noticed. So it's like, it's all the things. So I wanted to just address I think it's Jabby 1969. Exercise is great, but at what point is it too much? At some point, don't you just get beyond healthy? I have different thoughts in that. As a doctor, I
Wait,
have,
that's beyond healthy?
yeah, I think what they're saying is that aren't you just sort of doing more of the same, right?
Got it.
I think that's what they mean. Hopefully, and please correct us in the chat if that's not what you mean. Oh, there's so many good questions in here. Oh my gosh, I want to get to a lot. I want to get to a lot.
So good.
Okay, so girl issues. Yes, exactly. From Sydney, Australia, girl issues. This is not an episode about girl issues, okay? Because that's just something else. So I think for me as a doctor, when I look at exercise, is there a too much, right? And the answer isn't everything. It's in balance. It's just like somebody saying you work too much or you play too much. There's no work-life balance. There's no exercise-life balance. It's all life, and you get to subjectively introduce the balance. You get to decide what works for you. Now, biologically, physiologically, we are hardwired to run down our food and hunt it and skin and do all of these things, or forage or do whatever. Now we pull into a drive-through, or we go to the supermarket and it's conveniently wrapped in like styrofoam. There's no endorphin release there. There is no hormonal rebalancing that occurs. So in an evolutionary sense, we should all be exercising. We should all be exercising because we have biologically excess hormones and excess endorphins that should by nature be released every day. If you are not sweating every day, which by the way is one of the best ways to detox your body, is sweating, which is why don't even get me started on the whole antiperspirant thing for women.
But dried on my face as we're talking. I mean, I like legit.
Yeah, this is what
I'm
saying.
like, hashtag no filter, no makeup.
Right. You look beautiful. You look beautiful.
Absolutely.
So if we're not sweating, if we're not salivating, right? If we're not excreting, and I know that's like such a cringy word, but if we're not using all of our naturally designed systems to release toxins and, viral debris and all of the stuff, all of the environmental things that are influencing us as well, then it's just sitting there, right? So when it comes to exercise, I think it's a balance for you and yourself. What are your goals? What are your health goals? If you're putting yourself into a place of detriment where, you're exercising because of, an eating disorder, or you're exercising because of, I don't know, whatever else. If it's not coming from a place of just wanting to be better, just from a place of being balanced, then maybe reevaluate it. But only you can determine that, right? But I think that being said, everyone should be sweating every single day. I think every person should be sweating to some degree every single day, because I think it's really healthy and we don't do that. All you have to do is turn on the television, turn on Netflix to see somebody that's like, moving a box and they're like, I'm sweating. Who gives a shit? You're supposed to be sweating. That's a good thing. You're welcome, So I think it's this like undersold concept, and we like antiperspirant because sweat is gross. It is literally your body releasing toxins, as is crying, as is, salivating, as is all of these things that you should be doing that are the best, most healthy thing you can do for yourself. So it's a bit of a tangent, but wonderful questions, wonderful questions. And I see some more amazing ones in there as well. For me, my favorite tip for realignment is I try to go to the opposite of whatever the thing is that's funking me up. So for example, if I'm stressed out about work, I'm going to make an attempt to absolutely stand up and walk away from it and go do something that there's no stress. There's no, I might just go start painting something or start doodling. If you are stressed at work, let me give you this technique. Push yourself back from your desk and go doodle. Just draw spirals, draw whatever shapes, like act like this piece of paper is your trapper keeper, right? You should all remember those. Maybe I'm dating myself by saying that.
I was just talking about LL Bean backpacks upstairs. So yes.
Well, I come from Maine, so LL Bean is in my home state. So that was like, to be honest, in Maine, if you came to school with an LL Bean backpack, people were like, really? But I understand it's a big thing for the rest of the country.
Big thing in Delaware growing up.
Yeah, it's a big thing. So act like this is your like mental trapper keeper, right? And so I remember back in the day, you used to like write the name of the person that you were like super in love with, you thought you're going to marry on your trapper keeper. But doodle, absolutely do something that takes you away from the vibration of whatever the problem is. So don't try and, go into an analytic space. That contrast is going to balance things out and is going to level things out, just naturally, right? Just naturally. Get away from it. And also get out in front of it. This is why we talk about meditating. This is why we talk about scripting your day. This is why we talk about pre-paving, an occasion or an event or something that that you're going to do mentally, and walking yourself through it with the visualization techniques that we talk about all of the time, is because when you get out ahead of it, you have a better chance of just taking that hit, boom, and bouncing. And it's like, okay, I just fell out of this car at 60 miles an hour, but I hit the pavement and bounce instead of like, I'm lying in the middle of the road. That's literally the difference when you apply intentional energy beforehand I know that's like so, I don't know why. I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know why I am the way that I am, but I am. So
we love who you are.
So, okay, maybe not a car. Maybe like you fell out of bed or something. It doesn't have to, sometimes, Olivia, you don't have to be that so intense, but here we are. So getting out ahead of it is literally the difference. Like, it will buffer you, it will bubble wrap you in ways that you can't even understand until you start doing it, where things just don't bother you as much. And Melissa and I always talk about in our retreat, which, by the way, we have another one in Dallas coming up end of January, small plug, that you want to essentially go through your day and through your life as though you have a slight tequila buzz. As though you're like, yeah, this is great. That's beautiful. You look amazing. This is fantastic. This food tastes great. All of these superlatives, right? So and we actually have an exercise that we do in our retreats that is called Tequila Shaman, but that's besides the point, where you really want to pad yourself with this energetic buffering before you enter your day. Before you enter your day. That's my number one tip. And I know that's like, it seems boring. It seems like nobody wants to do the prep work, but I promise you, and I'm sure Melissa will agree, that is bar none the most effective thing you can do to get back into alignment.
Yeah, oh my God. Okay, so there's so much. One, I just want to second about the exercise. I'm a firm believer that the best medicine that any woman, like the number one thing you should prescribe yourself is movement. Like, there should not be a day for the health and happiness of yourself and all those involved in your life. Movement has to be a part of that. Like, it balances everything. It helps you be less reactive, less stressed, balance your hormones, balance your energy, give you focus, give you sanity, give you mental clarity. It helps with pooping, sleeping, digestion, you name it, it's there. So absolutely. And I talk a lot about, my own struggles with, orthorexia nervosa and excessive exercising, and also just all of that. So I could definitely go into that in more detail at any time. And I can also say, like, it is very individualized, and if it's unhealthy. Like, there's a lot around like disordered approaches to things. Like, if you're obsessing, if you have a bad day because you didn't get your movement in, if you're beating yourself up, like, that's when you're teetering in that unhealthy side, and it's coming from a place of control and unhealthy relationship to it, where it has a lot tied to your worthiness and your happiness, and your own self-validation and approval and acceptance. And that's when you start to go, okay, I need to shift the way that I'm viewing this, because you're no longer moving your body from love for you. You're moving your body from self-rejection and lack of love for you. And that's when you're like, okay, this is borderlining a dangerous relationship and an unhealthy one, and one that's not going to support you long-term. So that I definitely want to say. As for your aligning and getting out ahead of it, like, I mean, you and I share a brain, so like, without a doubt. And the other ones, guys, that I will totally, definitely 1,000%, like, especially like when everyone goes, oh, I'm not artistic, I'm not creative, like, I wouldn't doodle, I wouldn't, like, getting yourself to use that other side of your brain to get out of analysis paralysis and all of that, and actually redirecting the mind to do something different or actually just completely doing something else is going to support and bring you back. And one of the things, and I love this so much, and who was I doing this with? My friend Nicole Moore and I, we do like accountability with like a lot of our goals and things like that of that nature. And we were both talking about this, and she's an amazing celebrity relationship coach. And you know, we were talking and she's like, the more I bring joy to what I do. And I say that too, because that is something that she and I were talking about the other day. And Olivia and I always talk about this, and we do this again at our Awaken Women retreat at plug. And basically just come play with us in Dallas and let's have some tequila. No, but really, really bringing joy to things. When you start to bring joy, the intention of joy, the intention of your up leveling, the intention of your up leveling is you being you, by the way. You up leveling is you allowing your light to shine. You up leveling is you going, I'm no longer going to allow judgments and fears to stand in the way of me showing up boldly as who I am. Because only you has your unique gifts and talents and thoughts. Only you can say things the way you would say them. Only you, right? So the more that you are you, that is your up leveling. That is you being your highest self. That's what we're all really being called to do. So a big part of that is the universe wants you to be happy. There was never meant to be this struggle and angst and anxiety and depression and sadness. So the more that you're sitting there going, wait a minute, I get to have more joy. I'm going to put joy above all else. I'm going to put happiness and excitement and love. I'm going to bring the vibration of love to all that I do, the vibration of love for me, the vibration of joy for me and my desires. Automatically you will be in an aligned state, because there are only two human emotions, love and fear, and love operates from connection and fear operates from disconnection. So when you're in connection, you're in alignment. I hope that all made sense, but that's like the easiest way to adjust your compass, and also just to have an F ton of fun in the process.
I can't believe you didn't say shit.
I seriously I'll bring it back.
I'm so disappointed.
I myself for the IGs. Like, I don't know.
Never change who you are. I feel like I'm becoming more vulgar as time goes on, and I feel like you are becoming more of a lady. So balance, as we spoke about.
Well, I'm like, as our cosmic tea doers, well, it's so funny because I was actually doing a Facebook Live in one of my groups earlier, and I said fuck like 10 times. And then I was like, what's up with my chakra mouth today? But I thought, yeah, I cleaned it up for IG. I did. But I'm going to let you pick up.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, IG. So we have a question. Can you be connected and still be detached? So yeah, I think what you're asking, and if you could add a little bit more detail, that would be awesome. But I think what you're asking is, can you be connected to something, meaning still have an intention and be detached? Yes. So to answer that, and this is the most sort of like condensed version that I can give you, is that you can, and when you get to this point of really being aligned, you understand all aspects of a situation, of your relationship with another person. So it's like being in a relationship and you're looking at this person and you know that you love them, but you are giving up control, or you're surrendering to the anxiety of it that you normally go into in old behavioral patterns, because you understand fundamentally that even if that relationship fails, it's bringing you to the next best version of yourself. And really the hardest thing that sort of encompasses for people, and why it's so hard, or can be so hard to get there, is because there is one principle at the basis of all of it, of practicing connection with detachment, and, you know, especially bringing your best self to a relationship. And that principle is really self-love, because it is really a difficult thing for human beings to rewire and understand that you are so worthy and you are so capable and you are so from the moment you were born, loved and worthy and enough. But that's a mind fuck, because we live in a society where we're told the exact opposite. Well, you would be great if you lost 10 pounds. You would be even more amazing if you got that degree. You would be fabulous if you had 2.5 children. And so we start to measure ourselves subconsciously, consciously, to a standard of all of the stimuli that we have going on around us that makes us feel less than, right? And then there's the traumas that get added in. And then we think we're arriving whole to a relationship or to a career or to, launching our own business in our life. And we get there and things can start to go wrong. And we're like, is it me? Is it the situation? We start looking externally, first of all, when the only way that something can be in discord outside of you is if there's a reflection or there's a connection to discord inside of you. And so when we talk about connection with detachment, it really talks about the principles of self-love and of saying, you know what? I understand that this universe is working for me and with me, and that even if this person ends up being an asshole, which they could be, there are lots of assholes out there. There are also lots of amazing people. So you connect with somebody, you do the inner work, you start rewriting narratives, new stories for yourself, not the old paradigms that you've been living in. And little by little, you can get to that place of self-love of, you know what, I love them as who they are. I love me as who I am. And I don't need to make them someone else other than what they are in order for them to fill my cup, right? Because here's a secret I'm going to share with you that nobody talks about. Melissa and I share all the time in our groups and our events. No one can make you happy. Only you. Only you. If you are looking for somebody else to make you happy, you might find that in the moment. You might have great sex. You might have fun things to do together. But long term, it is no one else's job to make you happy. It is your job to make you happy. And then someone else, if you're in that vibration, will show up, match that vibration, and you guys can vibe together. But until then, you're going to have a little bit of a wonkiness that's going on. When you want to love, when you want to connect, and when you want to be detached, you have to start with your own alignment. You have to make you happy first. And when you're happy, when you're in alignment, I promise you, it will not matter what anybody else does. It truly will not matter, because you become so, secret sauce, exactly. You become so addicted to filling your own cup that it doesn't matter. And you love people where they are and for who they are. We don't fall in love with potential, right? We don't fall in love with, what somebody says. We fall in love with who we are. And as we meet up with people that are reflecting that in our lives, right? And that's who we're really connecting with, is mirrors of ourselves. And we're just deciding what mirror we want to look in for how long. That's all relationships are in this life. I promise you. That's it. That's all I have to say about that.
No, oh my God, I absolutely love it. I mean, you and I'm like, we jam on the same. And the one other thing I wanted to make sure that we get to before we go is there was the question. I love that, Liv. There was a question about when you up level, can you have crazy dreams? And the answer is absolutely.
Oh, Lord.
So when we're up leveling, and you'll also, so I'm a hypnotherapist, and when I do certain tracks for people based on their kind of future self, and we're breaking those, they'll say to me, like, I'm having all of these crazy dreams now, or I'm having these like fear-based dreams. And it's because we're actually rewiring their subconscious. And so they'll hit up against those subconscious fears that are saying, no, you can't. And it can create kind of animosity in the mind. And so I just want you to know that that's not a bad thing. And also, before you go to bed, something that Liv and I always talk about and share again, and join us in Dallas for January 28th through 30th for our Awaken Women retreat. Just again, saying, we have the early bird going until the end of this month, so hop on that. We will put a link below. But one of the things that we always say too is feed your mind. Like when you go to bed, that is the beginning of your next day. at night before you go to sleep. That is the beginning of your next day. It's not the morning of, that is your start of your next day. It's before you go to sleep. So you can also program your mind. You can, read your future story. You can sit and do a desire list of the things that you want to create. You can say, I am, I have achieved this goal. I have my ideal body. I have this much money. I have the relationship that I want. I am. Everything is in the I am or I have. Nothing is in the future. We don't do things I hope, I will, I wish. Nothing in, we really empowering language in the present tense. And that also can really set the stage for powerful dreams of manifestation and support in your energy and your vibration to already wake up in that aligned state. So I just thought that would be a good thing to end on, that we can share in terms of supporting in the alignment even tonight before you go to bed, so that you wake up in that space.
Yeah, I think that's a great tip, and that's why we always say no scary movies right before bed. And just be mindful of your vibration. You're imprinting on your mind, on your subconscious mind, which is the bus driver, by the way. That's the bus driver. It's not your conscious mind, it's your subconscious. You're imprinting whatever you want it to marinate on for the next, 8 to 10 hours. So be really aware of what that is for you. So what an amazing episode. Every single time I say it's my favorite, but I think this is my favorite thus far.
Yes, I agree. I agree, girl. I agree.
Thank you all so much for tuning in. We have people from literally all around the world: Australia, Alaska, Brazil. I think there was someone else in here from Spain, Italy, which I can appreciate what time it is. Even though I don't know, but it's got to be weird times over there. So thank you so much for joining us. For more information about Melissa and myself, please check out our homepages. Our websites are in our bios. Questions, DM us, and make sure that you get on the early bird train for our next Dallas event. It's going to be amazing. And Melissa, Kathryn, thank you so much for joining me as always. Thank you all for tuning in. We love you so much. And wherever you are, stay safe, be well, and be kind to each other.
Thank
Bye.
you all so much.